Hello guys, welcome to my channel Lucid Fanfic, and if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. Third POV. It had been about 2 months since Izuku had left after his mother's death. The Bakugos did attempt to look for him, but couldn't find him since he had changed his name and they didn't know what it was. Katsuki was pissed off at the Deku since his parents had forced him into anger management and therapy to deal with his issues. However, it came too late since the knocking of karma had arrived for Bakugo and the schools. It was a Tuesday afternoon when a knock on the door came. Mitsuki walked over to the door to see who it was, and there stood the police. Mitsuki was confused about why the police were at their home. "Mitsuki Bakugo?" they asked. She confirmed. "We are here to arrest your son for numerous crimes that he had committed. This is a part of an investigation of illegal quirk usage, quirk discrimination, and many other things at his old elementary and Aldria Middle School. Is your son inside?" the police detective asked. She was just shocked and didn't answer. Soon the officers just made their way in by forcing themselves past her, and she started to shout out for them to stop. The others in the house heard her and came running and saw the police. "Bakugo Katsuki, you are under arrest for illegal quirk usage, quirk discrimination, and many other crimes that you committed at your elementary school and at your middle school. You have the right," they said as they read off his rights. Bakugo was just confused about what crimes he committed, and then he realized they were talking about Deku. Bakugo was pissed and started to rage that he didn't do anything wrong. Time skip. The Bakugos soon arrived at the police station with Katsuki being cuffed to a table with quirk cuffs on him. "I can't feel my quirk. Is this how it feels to be quirkless?" thought Bakugo. However, he didn't realize that is only a small portion of the feeling of being quirkless. Soon a police detective came in and introduced himself as Detective Tsukachi. "Hello, Bakugos. I'm here to question Katsuki about his involvement in the crimes that went on at his elementary school and middle school. The main victim being one Izuku Midoriya," stated the detective. The parents were in shock that Katsuki had some sort of involvement in some sort of crimes that happened against Izuku. They wanted to know what the hell was going on. The detective started to read off some crimes that were committed. "We have many different crimes, but most can be grouped together in illegal quirk usage, verbal and physical bullying, destruction of property, and suicide baiting. What do you have to say for yourself, Bakugo Katsuki?" Detective Tsukachi asked. All of the Bakugos were dead silent. The parents couldn't believe that their son could do all of that, and Katsuki was in his own mind, which was enraged because Deku had gone to the police about what he did. "That damn Deku doesn't know his damn place," thought Katsuki. The detective asked the question again, and Katsuki started yelling that the damn quirkless Deku needed to be taught his place. His parents were terrified of what they have missed all of these years. Suddenly, the interaction between them and Izuku in the hospice care center started to make sense. Izuku didn't want to come to their home because Katsuki was in their home. He knew he wouldn't be safe with them. The damn Deku deserved to be put in his place. "What I did was right. The teachers even encouraged me to do it," Bakugo stated. The parents were just getting more and more terrified, and Mitsuki started to cry. This caught Katsuki's attention at his mother crying. She hardly ever cried. Why is she crying, he thought as his mind came to a halt. Regardless of how it appears, he didn't hate his mother when he called her old hag. He loved her and his father, and he couldn't understand at that moment why they were crying. Even his father, who normally lets his mother control the conversation and house, looked horrible. "Why are you crying? What I did was right. The teachers encouraged it. They never stopped us," Katsuki stated because he was really confused about what was wrong. His parents just hugged him and said it wasn't, and that they were sorry that they never noticed and couldn't correct him on his behavior. "Son, it wasn't right. It was so wrong. Izuku didn't deserve that, nor did you deserve the teachers allowing it or encouraging it," Mitsuki said as she hugged her son. "I'm so sorry, Inko. I'm so sorry," Mitsuki thought. She finally realized that she missed the signs and now couldn't ever apologize to Inko since she was gone. She also didn't know where Izuku was at to apologize to him either. The detective just kept silent the entire time, making notes. It appears that Bakugo was screwed over as well, just like Izuku said he was. Detective Tsukachi thought, "I'm going to start reading the number of charges and everything we currently have." As such, the detective read through everything and anything they had. They even had found some old videotapes from cameras in the school that weren't deleted correctly so the police were able to recover some of them. The family just watched Katsuki attack Izuku in the video, and even Katsuki was starting to realize how screwed up he was. By looking at it from a third-party perspective, he realized that I was acting just like a villain, thought Katsuki. Soon they finished going through the video and the evidence and notes that they had in the case. As it stands, the staff is also being arrested as we speak and will be jailed. Some are only losing their teaching credentials since there isn't proof that they were directly knowledgeable of the crimes, but still should have had some knowledge to report it to the police. Other students that got involved in the bullying, assaults, and crimes against Izuku Midoriya have also been arrested and are all facing their individual charges. Stated the detective. The Bakugos realized how bad this was. Katsuki's dream of becoming a hero was over. Katsuki, you do realize that the laws that protect you from being deemed a villain stopped at the age of 7. These laws are meant to protect kids from accidental quirk usage from being held guilty in the eyes of the law. This law doesn't stop any of the other crimes either, but as a minor back then you would have leeway. However, the problem comes when you pass the age of 7 and kept doing what you did. The detective stated, I always thought what I was doing was right. The teachers would separate Izuku from us during classes and when we played outside in daycare and elementary. They purposely encouraged it. I thought I was being good. But that doesn't really matter. People like All Might would have never done that, would they? Katsuki said with some tears now going down his face. He had realized that he destroyed any chance of being a hero all because he turned on his former best friend at the age of 4 just because his quirk didn't come in. Indeed, All Might wouldn't have. While you were influenced by adults in your actions still fall onto past a point. Some of your charges will be lessened due to the influence of the adults. In the end, you would be facing several years in a juvenile detention center where you would face your prison sentence. Which means you wouldn't be able to attend any hero school because you would still be imprisoned and some schools would outright reject you for your crimes. Stated the detective. It was at that moment Katsuki broke as more tears came down his face. He looked back on his life and realized how much he wasted just because of his anger and ego. That is, if someone didn't intercede on your behalf and the other students' behalfs. Stated the detective. The Bakugos were caught off guard at this. What was the detective talking about? The detective looked at Katsuki and then started to speak. I don't know what Izuku Midoriya is made of to be this forgiving. When I took his statement all those months ago, he asked for leniency in regards to you and the students. He knew the adults needed to suffer their fate, but he believed that the students didn't deserve their entire lives destroyed because the adults encouraged them. The detective stated. The Bakugos were shocked. Was Katsuki going to walk away free? However, it doesn't mean you walk away free from everything. You still need to be punished. However, the prosecuting attorney gave way to Izuku's request and has worked out a deal to offer you that has been approved by UA, who had become involved in this case due to the schools. The detective stated, which shocked everyone, that UA had gotten involved. The principal of UA is known in the police and hero world for going after schools like your elementary and middle school. So it wasn't surprising when he heard the word of this case that he jumped in to help. At Izuku's request, the principal of UA and the prosecuting attorney made a deal for you since you wish to attend a hero school in the future. Stated the detective, and Katsuki and his parents had a bit of hope in their eyes. Moving forward, Katsuki will be required to be in anger management and therapy until he graduates from middle school. It's recommended that he keeps going even after that. Katsuki will be required to do 50 hours of community service each month until he graduates from middle school. The crimes he committed will be marked on his record, but will be removed if he can graduate from a high school without issues, and the records of his childhood will be sealed. Now, in regards to hero schools, Nizu had stated that UA will not decline his enrollment into the hero course if he passes the exam. However, Katsuki will be placed on probation right away when he enters the school for the entire first year. This can be extended if they deem it needed, but never shortened. Katsuki will be required to keep going to therapy and anger management at UA during his entire time there. He will also be required to do 50 hours of community service each month on top of his classes until he graduates. If he obtains a hero license, then several red marks will be placed on it that states that he was involved in bullying in the past, but won't make mention of who or where since the childhood files would be sealed. Katsuki will also be required to attend a monthly meeting with me to confirm that he hasn't gotten involved in any more indicates that would break the agreement. Stated the detective. He then looked at Katsuki and said that he could reject the offer and fight it in court, but he wouldn't get a deal with UA, and they would reject his application no matter what since they know about these crimes. Katsuki said he would take the deal and thanked him. I wouldn't thank me, I would thank Izuku Midoriya if you ever meet him again. He is the one that convived the principle of UA and prosecuting attorney to grant this type of deal to every student involved. The prosecuting attorney just wanted to throw the book at everyone, but lost out in a battle of will against the kid. That kid usage of his puppy dog eyes should be classified as a quirk, the detective stated. Soon they worked on the paperwork and Katsuki had a question. You said I need to meet with you once a month to confirm I didn't do anything. How would you even do that? He asked. Oh, I never did say my quirk, did I? Sorry, bad habit of not doing it since I'm not required to, but everything I gain is allowed in court. My quirk is called lie detector, meaning anything you say will ring as truth, false, or half-truth to me. It allows me to figure out if someone is lying and about what. The detective said with a smile and walked out of the room. The Bakugos just realized that no matter what, the truth was never hidden in front of that man. Dekuzuku probably went crazy about that quirk. Katsuki said while stopping himself from saying Deku. This meeting had been an eye-opener on what he was doing. He knew he had problems, and now he needed to face them head-on. Maybe one day he would be willing to forgive me and be friends again, though these hands have harmed him so much. Katsuki thought with tears going down his face as he remembered their life before his quirk came in. He remembered when he was like brothers with Izuku, and he now missed that. He is just lucky Izuku was as forgiving as he always has been, even after everything Katsuki has done to him. You truly are the better hero, Izuku, thought Katsuki as he was hugged by his parents. A few weeks after Inko's death. Nizu POV. I was sitting in my office enjoying my tea. Then I received a call on my phone. Oh, I wonder what human dares to call me today, I thought. I picked up the phone and saw the caller ID showed it was All Might. I wonder why he is calling, I thought. I knew I needed to talk to him about his plans to work here to find a 9th user in the coming years. He's been resistant to the idea of passing it off so easily without finding the person himself. It really started when Sir Nightai foresaw his death and they separated from working together. I know Sir Nightai has been looking to find a person to take OFA for All Might, but I doubt that is going to go over well. I picked up the phone and said my normal thing. Hello, am I a rat, a dog, a bear? Who knows, but I'm the principal of UA Nizu. How may I help you? I said. I could hear All Might groan on the other side. Humans don't realize my hearing is so much better than them and that I can hear those things through a phone, do they? Soon All Might started to talk. Hello, sir. I need your help in a case, and it's your type. Detective Tsukachi is already working on it, and it's getting close to completion, but he needs help on one front. All Might stated, and I was curious about what they needed. That was my type of case. As such, I asked for more information and found out it was about an elementary school and middle school that was involved in many crimes against a quirkless person. I wondered how All Might got involved in this. However, he decided to answer my asked question. I know you are wondering why I'm involved, and I'll be honest. It's because the quirkless student is my son. All Might said. I just froze because when did he have a son that went unnoticed by me? He's not that good at hiding things from me, so there has to be a logical reason for a son coming out of nowhere. Wait. Ofa, did he find someone and adopt them? I thought. I'm wondering where a son came from, but I think I have a guess. Are they the new user? I asked him and he confirmed it. Yes, my son's name is Izuku Yagi, formerly Midoriya, but his mother died about 1 year into our training, and I had taken guardianship over him since I refused to let him go to the second option, which was one of his main torments, home. Otherwise, it was the system that I refused to allow him into. I grew close to him quickly, and we see each other as father and son. As such, about a few months before Inko died, I had got her to agree to sign guardianship papers in the event of her death, which turned out to be the smart thing to do. All Might stated. I knew that was a smart move on his part, especially if the child would have ended up in a hostile environment for him. Though I was wondering how they met, though. All Might explained how they met and what happened with OFA. All Might explained that it appears that OFA actually has some sentience to it due to the past user's wills. To think that the previous users can interact to that degree is amazing and terrifying. All Might also explained how Inko knew before her death of OFA, and how Izuku wanted to control who knew about him being the 9th. Izuku had approved the detective, Gran Torino, Nizu, and Recovery Girl to know about him, but not Sir Night-Eye, since he isn't involved with All Might anymore, nor will Izuku have any direct connection to him, unlike the rest of us. It was very smart on the boy's part to limit the information to the old guard that won't be in his life. All Might then explained how Izuku's life had been like, and I was getting more and more pissed by the second. Izuku's life reminded me of my own, being forced into a cage and tested on without any way to fight back. If either of them fought back, then punishment from their owners. Nizu was also surprised to hear about the boy's intelligence. I have him going to Somei Junior High currently, and they had him take placement exams. He aced his level with 100% and the third years with 98%. I think the sole question he got wrong was, in his view, an opinion question about Quirks singularity. All Might said, and Nizu could agree on Izuku's views since he knew about OFA. The Quirks singularity is a tricky concept with ideas against and for it. All Might also talk about some notebooks that he believed were close to my own analytical skills in regard to Quirks. Then I received an email from All Might at that moment, and I pulled it up at his request and saw some pages from the notebook. These are a bit sloppy, but for a kid that self-taught himself, everything is pretty good. The level of info and theories are on the level of professionals. It just needs to be refined and guided, and it would rival my own, I thought. Soon I agreed to get involved in the case and stated that I wanted to meet Izuku in person and consider taking over his education. I could just have his school provide all the material I want him to do and grade it myself and provide the school the information. They would just need to help him in anything when I can't until he gets to UA to become my private student. I refuse to let him slip by me. A hero with the strength of All Might plus with a mind that can rival mine would be a powerful and scary hero, I thought as I laughed while drinking my tea. I knew some staff walked by my door, and I could hear them run away when they heard my laugh. Oh, you weak humans are scared so easily. Time skip. Third POV. Soon Nizu got involved in the case and went flying through evidence, and only grew more enraged at everything he saw. He was even able to recover some videos, and his blood boiled. How can this kid still be so forgiving of other humans, Nizu thought. Nizu kept running parallels between himself and Izuku Yagi. It seems that OFA found a perfect ninth who knows the hard reality of the world, but could still keep his heart open to others and not lash out to destroy it. Nizu thought, since he knew that Izuku would make a fearsome villain without OFA. The notebooks were proof of that. Izuku didn't even need to fight, he just needed to sit behind a computer and come up with the plans, and he could lay waste to nearly all of the heroes. Nizu has also taken over Izuku's education and is assigning him the work via his school for him to do. Nizu is aiming to get Izuku tested out most of his basic classes that he will have to take at UA, so he can just take over his lessons for most of the time. However, it's time to deal with the school and students. It was Tuesday afternoon, and the students have gone home when heroes and police descended on both schools. Nizu decided to go to middle school since it used to be Izuku's current school. Nizu was riding on the detective's shoulder as they entered the staff room. The staff protested on them coming in, but shut up quickly when they saw Nizu and the police. Hello, am I a rat, a dog, a bear? Who knows, but I'm the principal of UA Nizu. Nizu stated. The staff attempted to please Nizu and asked why he was there when Nizu dropped the bomb. Well, we are here to arrest you all on, Nizu said as he started to read the criminal charges out loud. The staff tried to object to it, but then they stated they had videos and other evidence. Soon the police cuffed everyone, but then Nizu noticed a book. It was a book from the Meta Liberation Army. Nizu then pointed it out to the detective, who asked each staff member if they were members of the MLA, and they found over half of the staff was. Well, shit. This complicates matters greatly, Nizu thought. Nizu knew they would need to start tracking plus G down past students and see where they were and what they were doing to see if they had a new MLA coming on their hands. I guess we really will need to make some leniency in the Bakugo's case and the other students like Izuku asked of me, since the students were really under bad influence, thought Nizu. Soon all of the staff was arrested, and then they headed over to the other school where the detective wanted to find out if they were connected to the MLA as well. It turned out there was some staff, but not as much. They knew that the staff from both schools had connections to each other and had a good idea that both schools were trying to pump out new soldiers for the MLA. The case of Izuku Yagi has revealed a lot of hidden things to the world that would put heroes on alert. Nizu enjoyed the screams of protest as the teachers and principal were put into cuffs and dragged away. He pulled out a tea set from nowhere and started to drink it while laughing. Everyone in the room looked at him like he was crazy, but he was just enjoying the humans being dragged away like an animal. Like how they did it to him. God, I love screwing with humans. Nizu thought. Now it was time for Nizu to make the deal plan with the detective and the prosecuting attorney like Izuku wanted. Nizu had to admit that the puppy dog eyes from Izuku were hard for him to hold up against, and the prosecuting attorney fell to them. They need to be labeled a damn quirk, thought Nizu as he remembered meeting Izuku the first time when they were talking about how to punish the students and teachers. Izuku wanted the students to be granted mercy and not have their dreams and lives destroyed, but he didn't care about the adults. In Izuku's own words, they knew what they were doing was wrong, but the students were guided by them. As adults, it's your job to guide the kids back onto a correct path and not set their current path in stone, which you will do if you just throw the book at them, Izuku stated in the meeting. Soon the deals were made out and were offered to the students. Nizu did hear back from the detective that Bakugo did show remorse and guilt when he was faced with his crimes and his parents had broken down. He also confirmed that they didn't know about what the son was doing. The son started to break when he saw the video and admitted that he was acting like a villain. Nizu was pleased with this and thought Izuku was right that the boy could change for the better if given the chance. However, Nizu remembers the boy's look when asked if he would forgive the Bakugo kid in the future. It showed a lack of forgiveness. I don't know, I doubt I will, and at best I will be willing to work with him and be in the same room, but I doubt we will ever be friends like we were before his quirk came in. I just don't think it's possible, but only time can tell, Izuku stated with a sad smile. At that moment, Nizu knew the boy was more like him than he thought at first. Even with all of your mercy to your tormentors, you still have a line in which he crossed. At least you aren't too hateful like I was with my tormentors, thought Nizu. Third POV. It was nearing the end of the first year of middle school. Izuku had become close friends with Ida and a few other people, but they weren't planning to go to UA like Ida and Izuku were. Izuku was still keeping the fact that All Might was his father a secret from everyone since he wanted to wait until he at least got his provisional license. This was so that if the fact got out to the general public, he would be able to defend himself and use his quirk. Gran Torino came around every few weeks and helped spar with Izuku to ensure he was doing okay. Izuku was doing his martial art classes and was correcting the flaws in his understanding since he was all self-taught up to that point. This allowed Izuku to become better at controlling the flow of his body during attacks, which is what he wanted. As he was doing the martial arts and sparring, Izuku also increased the amount of physical training he did and focused his goal on having compact muscles instead of bigger muscles like his father. The reason for this is because OFA doesn't work on how big his muscles are but how much strain and energy they can take. It does help to have bigger muscles, but Izuku's body is smaller than his father's who can pack on larger muscles, unlike Izuku. As such, he focused his training to increase the number of muscle fibers in his body. As such, instead of working on a higher number of sets and reps which would lead to a bodybuilder-type body like All Might's, Izuku focused on a lower number of sets and reps done with heavier weights. This type of training was called the myofibrillar hypertrophy focus. The growth rate isn't fast, but it results in a great improvement in muscle strength, which is what Izuku needs. As a result of training during the remainder of the year, Izu's body became more defined and leaner as he went through the year. Though Izuku still hid his body with baggy clothing, since it was his habit. As a result of all of this physical training and martial arts, Izuku had reached a new height in his control of OFA. He was now able to push his OFA control to 65% in his full cowl mode. Overall, Gran Torino and All Might were both amazed at the speed Izuku was going since Izuku's OFA is far stronger than All Might's when he received it. Now, outside of the physical training, Izuku also had the educational learning he was doing. After meeting with Principal Nizu for the criminal case, Nizu had approached Izuku to take over his education. I want to make you my private student when you get into UA. As such, we need you to be past most of the first-year classes and beyond if we can. I want you to learn everything you can so you can test out of as many classes as you can so we can spend class time together. It's been years since I've had a personal student again, Nizu said with a cheerful tone. All Might just looked scared when Nizu offered this. God damn, Nizu is going to corrupt my son and have the 9th user under his control by the time Izuku graduates. All Might thought as he was sweating bullets at the thought of Izuku being a student of Nizu. The world was doomed in All Might's mind. Izuku took Nizu up on his offer for being a private student and spent the remainder of the year studying for high school level classes. Near the end of the year, Izuku had tested out of the English classes since he had already learned the language and only needed to brush up on it. The reason he knew of it was that in some dark place in his mind, he thought as a child that he could learn it to please his father who was in America, when he knew the truth he wasn't. However, it came in handy later. Izuku also finished the basic level math class for his first year in high school as well and tested out of it. As such, he was able to free up several periods of his first year at UA already and would keep working during his middle school education to test out of the remaining classes, so he could be with Nizu only. However, near the end of his first year in middle school, something happened that no one realized was possible. It would have so many implications in the future as well. However, one night when Izuku was sleeping, he found himself in a dream he thought, but it was too real to be a dream. Izuku POV. I went to sleep early tonight for some reason my body just demanded me to. About 20 minutes later, I fell into a deep sleep and started to have a weird dream. It scared me because I saw the deaths of people I didn't know. As I saw the deaths, I heard some voice start to talk. I never heard of it before, but it felt like I knew it was the voice of an ally or a friend. They weren't really chosen ones. Through all those battles, all they could do was receive the quirk and then entrust it to another, stated the voice. I soon turned around a bit and saw a group of people standing off to my side. It looked like they were trying to reach for me. I attempted to reach back for them and could only raise my hand but not move my feet. Soon they all disappeared but the man who was standing in the front, the woman with black hair, and the man with the coat that went past his neck. Hello, Ninth. It's good to meet you. We've been watching you since before Toshinori gave you FA. We've watched you from inside of him and then from inside of you, stated the white-haired man. You said from inside OFA, are you the previous users? I asked him. The women answered instead. Yes, we are. I'm Nana, the 7th user, and the master of the 8th Toshinori Yagi, aka your father. I'm so glad he adopted you when your mother died. The 7th said as she hugged Izuku. Ninth, the reason we are here is that you obtained a deeper connection with OFA that called forth a quirk of a past user. OFA stockpiles energy, the echoes of the previous users, and the past user's quirks as well. The energy grows stronger with each user to help protect the world. The echoes help guide the current user on their path and help decide the next user, and the quirks can be called forth if the desire of the user meets the requirements for the quirks, stated the first user. Soon they explained that even All Might had tapped into a past user's quirk a bit, but wasn't doing it correctly. Once he lost his muscles, OFA responded by providing him the ability to transform into a muscle state. This isn't a quirk of a past user, but a mix of abilities to grant it. OFA did this, so it didn't kill All Might when he used it, stated the other male who Izuku found out was the 6th user. They explained that Izuku had become connected to the 6th user's quirk since Izuku had focused on control of his body and muscles with the martial arts that he practiced. Due to you focusing on compact muscles and control of your body during any fighting, you tapped into my quirk that grants body control. This quirk allows the user to control and manipulate every single part of their body, including the internal organs. This can lead to an incredible amount of speed, power, flexibility, and accuracy. The effects of this quirk cannot be changed by erasure since it's an internal quirk. This quirk can be used subconsciously if the user is used to how it feels. Makes the user unpredictable. Makes the enemy rethink how to deal with the user, stated the 6th user. They explained it a bit more that it was weaker and only allowed certain control of body parts, but with OFA powering it now, it has grown to a point with enough practice that Izuku could quickly change directions faster than a normal person could once he touched the ground or shift his body at a faster pace. It's a quirk that is a dream come true for a martial arts user who focuses on body movement and doing efficient movement of the body. The 6th user tapped me on the head and said he granted me the quirk. Train with it a lot to the point you can use it without thinking much. It can become a great asset during close combat and will be useful in combination with OFA since it has grown much stronger, stated the 6th user as he disappeared. Soon the 7th and 1st users said their goodbyes, and then they all appeared one more time, and I could hear them say, "Remember, you are never alone." They all stated as they disappeared. Third POV. Izuku woke up screaming since his body was in pain from the new quirk adapting into his body. Ah! He yelled out. Soon Toshi was inside his room within a minute in his buff form because he heard Izuku scream. What's wrong? He yelled out. He could see OFA activate across Izuku's body, but didn't know what was happening. Soon Izuku's screaming came to an end, and he was breathing heavily. He then asked Izuku what was wrong again. It was OFA. I found myself in some sort of dreamscape, or something connected to OFA. I saw all of their deaths, I saw the users and talked to them. Izuku said in between breaths. Toshi didn't know what to think as he dropped his buff form. He knew that the past users' wills were attached to OFA and spoke sometimes, but he never entered a dreamscape area where he saw their deaths or had long conversations with them. Izuku then explained how he talked to the 6th, 7th, and 1st users, and how he obtained a new quirk and how Toshi was still able to buff up and use OFA. Toshi was surprised at the new information and shocked at the fact that Izuku now had another quirk. Izuku decided to go back to sleep, and they would talk about everything in the morning or after school. All Might went back to his room and made a note for himself to call Gran Tornio and Nizu about the new developments in the quirk. To think Izuku would be able to pull a new quirk out of OFA, he truly is gifted at using OFA, thought Toshi as he went back to sleep. Nizu POV. It's been quite some time since I've started to teach Izuku, and I got to admit I've grown fond of him. Me? Growing fond of a human. That is unheard of since I only have humans I like to a small degree because they are good to keep on my side, and then the humans I dislike. It's unheard of me to have humans I am fond of. However, it doesn't surprise me honestly. Izuku is so much like me, far more than anyone wants to admit or willing to notice. He has a high intelligence that he was forced to keep hidden to survive because the people in his past weren't above hurting him more if he showed his intelligence to the degree he is showing it now. One day as I was sitting in the Yagi's living room when I went down for a weekend to do some personal training with Izuku, and I had Izuku going through some student files and videos of their training. This produced some interesting results because I watched Izuku as he ripped through their quirks and personalities. The smile he held while doing it reminded me of my smile when I played around with the humans in my own twisted ways. All Might had walked in and saw us with our smiles on, and then walked right out the door he came in. He didn't return until it was close to the end of our lessons, and he was still nervous while being in the same room as us both. I looked over the final product that Izuku had given me, and I had to admit that once I taught him to clean up the information and how to present it in a better manner, his quirk analysis was matching my own. To think that he was self-taught and only needed to be refined. The report was good enough that I had planned to provide it to the students at UA when I returned. I had asked Izuku about his smile and why he had it when some would describe it as a scary smile when he was doing his work, and his response didn't surprise me. I first started these journals to help my plans of being a quirkless hero, though it took on a second reason for me to do them. Would you like to take a guess at the second reason, Nizu-sensei? He stated. I had a good guess and made it. I'm assuming it was your way at planning around your enemies and figuring out ways to deal with them if you ever had to? I asked and got a confirmation. All Might was sweating bullets on the other side of the room as we talked. I think he realized how close Izuku was to snapping and becoming an evil version of me. Luckily, he found Izuku first, and has helped the boy on his path of good, and also placed him right into my hands. Oh, the 3 years he's at UA will be so enjoyable, I thought. And easy. No putting plans of world domination in my son's head. I know you have some weird thoughts in your mind right now. All Might yelled out from the kitchen. I just shook my head at being denied that. Well, there goes that plan. Though he never said I couldn't teach Izuku how to manipulate people to do his bidding. I thought with a smile. Time skip. Nizu POV. The education of Izuku has been going great. We are now near the end of the 2nd year of his middle school, and Izuku has only grown in his knowledge. He has grown stronger with OFA, and combined with his knowledge that I'm teaching him, he is going to become one of the strongest and smartest heroes in all of history. It was quite interesting to learn last year about him developing another quirk from inside of OFA. OFA truly has become a Rubik's Cube that can't be solved so easily. Every time we think we discovered everything, something new happens. Izuku has gotten a decent control of the body control quirk, since he was already focused on controlling his body movement. He's learned how to stop his body from bleeding out if he had a wound, which is very important and useful in battle. He can also change his direction of movement and attacks at the drop of a dime, which gives him unpredictability in his fighting. I'm predicting that he could take most pro heroes on in a close combat match and win if he gets enough experience under his belt. He is also nearing total control of UFA itself. He was at 65% at the end of last year, and now he is at 80% with only 20% left to go during his final year before UA. Izuku will be a powerhouse of powerhouses in the hero industry. During this year, Izuku has also tested out a good majority of his first-year high school classes or entire subjects altogether. This is amazing since it will provide a decent amount of time for me and him to work together during his 3 years of UA. I've decided to have him start a side gig of sorts as an analyst so he can practice his skills and get experience at it for the hero industry. One of the main things I do as a hero is to provide other heroes with analytical services as I go through cases or quirks and provide feedback for their cases. Izuku took an interest in this because it would help him on the battlefield, but also during investigations since he could figure out quirks beforehand if he has any clues. As such, I started to assign him random heroes, UA staff, and students' profiles for him to do. I've also given him videos of villains for him to study and prepare profiles based on the villains. This has helped several activate cases that we had going on. My staff all think the papers they got of them all came from me, and I wasn't going to correct them anytime soon. Why ruin the fun when they learn it came from someone much younger than them? Even Eraserhead has taken a few ideas and used them, and it will be interesting to see his reaction when he learns the truth. I also plan to equip Izuku with a hero laptop and email address connected to the hero network, so he can keep his stuff secured once he enters UA. All Might, Gran Torino, and I have also debated on recommending him for the provisional exam during his last year of middle school, so he can defend himself and others with his quirk since he is already so powerful and knows a lot of hero training due to being trained by All Might and Gran Torino. All Might has even given Izuku access to his agency and introduced him to several key staff, since Izuku will take over Might Tower in the future. Izuku has been helping do paperwork, so he knows how to do it all. Though his identity and his existence have been kept from the press, so far we don't know how long that will last, which is another reason to get him a provisional license. I just sat in my office drinking my tea and laughing at the many ideas in my mind and the future plans that I have. I could see the staff tense in the staff room since they could hear me a few doors down. Oh, I enjoy the sight when they tense, I thought. Third POV. It was now Izuku's final year of middle school, and Izuku and Ida have both become close friends. Ida has calmed down and mellowed out on all of his following the rules 24/7 thinking, but is still a ruler follower at least half of the time. Izuku just finds it funny most of the time when Ida does something because of how he moves his arms. As Izuku was sitting in his classroom, he was thinking back on his past and current situation. It's a big difference, but still the same somewhat. Izuku thought. He missed his mother and would always miss his mother, but he was glad that he had Toshi as his father because of how much he cared for him. Toshi has been getting healthier as the years have gone by and isn't straight skin and bones like he used to. Recovery Girl had thanked Izuku for getting him to put on weight since she was always concerned. Izuku had even asked her for some ideas on foods that Toshi could eat and how to better increase his health. They did figure out that Toshi could take supplement IVs that were packed with a high level of nutrients that Toshi needs for his body outside of the current food Izuku was getting him to eat. As such, Izuku learned some medical knowledge from Recovery Girl and was certified as an EMT since he passed the required tests. This gave him enough knowledge to perform the IVs himself at home with Toshi. As such, Izuku set up and force stand and the needed medical equipment in the kitchen and would force Toshi to take the 4 each morning while they ate breakfast. This had helped Toshi's body put a bit more weight on since he was getting the other stuff that Izuku couldn't just feed him due to a lack of a stomach. Overall, Toshi's time limit hasn't decreased at all since he had passed OFA to Izuku. Recovery Girl theory is that due to the improvement in his body's health it has added some time onto his limit which he had eaten away due to giving the quirk up. This has left him at a similar time limit without any noticeable changes in his power. She thinks that they should start seeing a decrease near the middle of Izuku's first year in UA. As such, Izuku was proud of his results in getting Toshi to be healthier. Toshi didn't complain since he didn't cough blood as much every single day. Nizu kept up with Izuku's education and Izuku had finished testing out of any first-year academic classes for UA and has tested out a few for his second year. As such, if they kept this pace Izuku should have half of his second year of UA completed by graduation time, which will allow Nizu to focus on the rest of UA's education during Izuku's first year with other subjects of their choice. Nizu and Izuku just had grins on their face at that idea, and Toshi just felt a cold shiver go down his spine each time Izuku and Nizu were together. Time skip. Third POV. It was the middle of the year and Izuku arrived home to find Nizu, Gran Torino, Recovery Girl, and Toshi all sitting at the table enjoying their time. Izuku was shocked to find them all there, but was happy nonetheless since he has become close to each of them and calls them family. Hello Uncle Nizu, Grandpa Tornio, Grandma Chio. How are you three doing? Izuku asked as he hugged his father. Izuku at first wanted to call Nizu Grandpa, but knew not to when he saw the glint in his eyes when he started to. It promised pain and suffering. As such, Izuku switched to Uncle Nizu, which made Nizu happy. Izuku has also picked up Nizu's tea habits and learned how to make tea from Nizu. It's also unknown to anyone else besides Nizu and Izuku that they are so close that Nizu lets Izuku touch him and hug him. However, Izuku only does this in private, so no one else finds out since he knew that Nizu didn't like other humans touching him except to shake his hand. They had talked about their similar pasts and had grown close after that day. We had an offer for you. You can reject or accept it. Decision's yours to make. Gran Torino stated. Izuku was interested in what they wanted to talk about, and soon they explained. They wanted Izuku to take the provisional exam and be recommended by Nizu and All Might for the exam. If he passed, it would be kept on the down low so others didn't find out unless needed. The idea was so that if someone attacked Izuku or someone near him, he could defend himself or them. No, this doesn't mean go out and do hero work. This means that if an emergency happens, you can back up heroes and or defend people around you. You are not meant to go find trouble. Toshi stated in a strong tone that left no room to argue or find a logical loophole. Izuku just pouted at his dad since he knew Izuku well enough that he knew Izuku would try and find a logical loophole. Fine, I won't try to find a loophole in this, Izuku said. Everyone just laughed at him. All Might just pulled Izuku into his side and hugged him. Izuku agreed to take the test and aimed to get his provisional. Izuku knew he was lacking in his training in regards to the rescue aspect, but did have the medical knowledge of an EMT. As such, he was still confident in his ability to pass. Time skip. Izuku POV. That is how I found myself at the stadium for the provisional exam. I felt nervous, but still kept myself standing straight. The confidence training and support of my family has really helped with my stuttering and self-wrath issues. I had the hero outfit that Nizu and Dad had worked together to create with some input from me. They wouldn't let me do it myself, citing my horrible fashion sense. Not my fault. I like my shirts to say t-shirt and my pants to say pants. It's cool. As such, I moved into the changing room and got changed after Nizu had checked me in. They weren't planning on informing any of the UA staff about me getting my provisional license unless it came up in an emergency. So only Nizu was here with me and Dad in his skinny form. I soon finished changing into my outfit, and I got to say I loved it. Ignore the things for Black Whip until he gets it later, and the Deku on the page is Deku instead. Soon I was shown to the testing ground I was placed in, and it was a large stadium, and I was amazed at the size and detail that they put into the test city. Soon I heard the first round would be an elimination round where we had to knock out the other people and score 10 points. Only half of the people would pass this round and go to the next one. As such, everyone was allowed to spread out across the place before the round started. After 5 minutes, the siren went off and the round started. I powered up OFA to 25% and started to sprint across the place looking for people. Then I saw several balls coming at me, and I used body control to change the direction of my body to go right between the two balls due to how flexible body control can make me. I charged at where the ball came from and scored a point off both of the people that attacked me. Then I moved towards finding other people. I found myself in the factory area and was jumping across the pipes. Then I noticed the metal was moving in front of me. I dodged just as it attempted to grab me and lock me in place. However, I had powered up to 50% for a split second to dodge and then dropped back down. During all of my training, I had gained control of 90% of OFA, so I wasn't worried about a lack of strength. It was a lack of experience compared to everyone here. I soon found the person that controlled the metal and gained a point off him. Now I had 3 points and was slowly working my way up. I kept moving around and found a few more people who were fighting each other and just scored points off them. I soon made my way up to 8 points and decided to head towards the exit to get anyone near there. As I arrived, I saw an entire school of people who were knocking people out as they came to the exit. Even if you got enough points, you could still be knocked out if you lost all your targets on your body. As such, I charged up to 35% and bounced around, and closed the distance between me and a section of their group. They were shocked at my speed and attempted to capture me to knock me out, but I just dodged their attempts and got in close. The flaw in your plan is that once I get close, you can't or really throw your ball without risking your own side. I yelled out as I started to hit some targets. The moment I got my points, I just powered up to 40% and jumped out of there into the exit since they were guarding it. I could hear a lot of them cursing at me for breaking through their line like that. Some even called me a coward for not staying to fight, but that was a stupid idea since I'm here to pass, not fight. As I sat in the waiting area for the last round, I saw some of the students come in that was guarding the exit. They looked at me and started to throw insults at me and calling me a coward for not fighting. Call me a coward if you want. The job of a hero is to save people and complete their objectives. I completed my objective of getting my points and didn't need to save anyone in that area. As such, I exited the conflict area since my objective was completed. I stated. They didn't like that answer from me and started to move towards me. However, I was in luck when staff members in the stadium moved to stop them. Stop right there. Keep moving forward, and I disqualify you from this exam. One staff member stated. The students from the other school froze at that statement and moved away, but still glared at me. I kept my eye on them while keeping my distance. I refused to get disqualified from this exam when I'm already halfway done. After about 25 more minutes, the first round came to an end, and the second one was getting ready to start. It was announced it was going to be a rescue operation. We had to clear the zone of any civilians. I felt like there was a hidden motive in this round and attempted to figure it out. Why would we be reducing people from a zone without any active threats? We haven't done much to really earn the provisional license. I thought and realized that there was likely a villain threat that they didn't tell us about, since that is a real-world problem during a rescue. Villains do pose a risk of attacking without warning during a rescue. As such, I kept my guard up in preparation for an attack. As the round started, I sped off deep into the area and started to search for any civilians. I found a few and asked them if they had any injuries. One claimed a broken leg and another claimed a sprained leg. I decided to carry them both. I had the person with the sprained leg get on my back and hold on to me while I carried the person with the broken leg. The moment I stepped out, I saw villains. I ignored them and just bounced away and escaped before they could even attack me. The fake civilians were surprised at my speed and the fact that I left the villains there. After I dropped them off at the medical site, I told them it would be all right, but I had to go save for people. As such, I powered up and went back in. I found one team of heroes being trapped with their civilians. It was the team of students that tried to start a fight with me in the lobby after the first round. I came in from behind the villains and slammed my foot into the ground, shattering it right in between the villain group, making them all fall. Get the people out of here. I yelled at them, and they were shocked, but got moving. As the villains started to get back up, I just slammed them into each other as I engaged in close-quarters combat. I noticed the team of students were out of range with their people and quickly finished the fight by knocking the villains out. I then heard an explosion from a few blocks over and went over to investigate it. After a few seconds, I arrived at the site of the explosion and found the equipped hero, Yoroi Musha, who was currently ranked number 9 in Japan. I saw that he had destroyed a car that caused the explosion with his sword. The equipped hero, Yoroi Musha's quirk allows him to summon any historical weapon and armor to fight. I don't know if this is true since nothing is known about his quirk. I could see that he had knocked out several exam takers and was about to finish another one off. I jumped down and knocked the blade out of his hand and grabbed the exam taker and jumped away. Get the others and drag them out of here. I ordered the guy who started to do what I asked. I faced off the number 9 hero, and he looked at me. Do you think you can take me when they all failed? He asked me. I just looked at him and stated, even if I can, I'll stall long enough for them to get to safety, since being a hero is all about overcoming the odds and saving the day. I said. He seemed impressed with me and started to attack me with a new blade. I just kept dodging him with body control as I made my body flexible enough to move around his attacks, combined with my speed of 30%. Soon, I landed several hits on his armor and started to crack it. His quirk made the armor very stronger than the real ones. As such, after 5 punches at 30%, I had broken his armor and landed a punch right on him, and sent him flying back. It was at that moment the siren went off calling an end for the exam. He got up and looked at me. Good job. It's been a long time since someone broke my armor off. Was that all your strength? He asked me, and I told him it was only 30% since I don't want to kill someone if I use too much strength and their bodies can't handle it. He just gave me some advice that if they survive the first punch, then to start increasing my percent until I defeat them quicker so I don't waste time. Time skip. Izuku POV. Everyone gathered in a room where the results were shown. Of the 1,000 people that started the first round, only 500 got to the second round. Out of the 500 people, only half of them had gotten their provisional license, as the other half didn't score enough points. I had scored 95 points out of 100. I scored 1 point higher than All Might did when he got his provisional license. I saw the picture that was printed on my license after they gave it to me. It was the picture we all took in our hero outfits, and I saw the hero name that Nizu and All Might picked for me. It was Deku, the hero of grace. I remembered that hero's name was what Toshi suggested a while back when I talked about my past. I soon arrived back at the area where I separated from Nizu and Toshi, and they congratulated me for passing. Now remember, just because you have it doesn't mean you go find trouble. If you find someone in danger, you can get involved. If heroes on site, don't have it contained. Dad said with a strict tone. Third POV. It was nearing the time for the UA entrance exam. Nizu had offered Izuku a recommendation spot, but he declined it. I don't want to feel like I'm cheating. I already got a lot of support from you and the others, so I don't want to be recommended. Izuku said. Nizu accepted this, but decided to place some restrictions on Izuku due to his strength. Fine, but I had restrictions. Due to the fact that you could kill someone with a higher percent attack, we need to limit your abilities a bit during your time at UA, unless you are training with All Might or supervised by myself. This doesn't apply to any other teachers since they don't know the entire truth of OFA and how powerful you truly are. Nizu said. Izuku had no choice but to accept this. As such, unless Izuku could provide a logical reason for going to a higher percent, he was limited to only 25% of his strength, no matter the situation during the test and during school. 25% for Izuku was the same as a 35% punch from All Might, which could still level an entire building. As such, Nizu had reason to be concerned at the level of strength Izuku uses during UA. It was also time to relocate closer to UA since middle school had come to an end. All Might had a new home constructed in Mizutofu, Japan that was located next to a forest and was on private land that he had gated in. They would keep the home in Tokyo in the event that they ever traveled back since the agency was still located there. The new home was a similar style to their current home as well. It was a large home, but wasn't a mansion either. Living room, kitchen, and ding room. Izuku's room. Izuku's bathroom. All Might's room. Gym like the old one. Sauna just like the old one. All Might's home office like the old one. This home didn't have the pool or the wine cellar built into them since they didn't use them that much in the other home. Soon, most of their personal belongings were moved to the new house, while they left everything else since they decided to buy all the new things that they needed for the new home. Izuku had 2 weeks left before the entrance exam started. He had finished his training and had gained control of 100% of OFA before they left their old home, which Izuku was really happy about. Toshi had warned Izuku to keep up his physical training since there is a beyond portion to One for All. It's when a user goes above 100% and taps into the entire pool of energy and performs large attacks, but even a prepared body for 100% can't withstand the damage fully. As such, it's a good idea to keep training and make his body denser and more compact. As such, Izuku made sure to keep training in the home gym while waiting for the exam. He did go out and get used to Mizutofu, Japan again since it's been a long time since he's lived here. He even went to visit his mother's grave a few days before the entrance exam. Hey, Mom, it's been some years since I last came here. I wonder what you think of my life. Dad's been getting healthier through all the meals and IVs I force him to sit down and take. Izuku said to Inko's grave. He shed a few tears down his face and then looked up with a smile. I'm going to do it, Mom. I've gained control of my quirk, and I've taken everything in life with a challenge. I will be a hero, and I won't let anyone stop me, Izuku said with a wide smile on his face. Soon he left the gravesite and went home to get ready for the exam in a few days. Time skip. Izuku POV. It was now the day of the exam. Toshi drove me to the exam since he would be working at the school. This news hasn't been released to the public yet, but I knew of it since I live with him. We soon arrived and went our separate ways. We were planning to keep our relationship a secret from all the students for as long as we can since we hit it up to now. The teachers would figure out that I'm his son due to my last name though. However, none of them know that I'm Nizu's personal student though, which will be fun to reveal later on. I walked up to the front entrance and went through the procedure and was directed to my written exam room. I sat down and I noticed Bakugo was in this room. Seems you've been keeping clean since you are here. I thought since I knew everything about his deal requirements, which included a meeting once per month with the detective. Soon we went through the written exam and I finished within 35 minutes because it was honestly easy material for me. I got up and provided the exam to the teacher who was a hobo in a sleeping bag. I realized who it was, and it was Eraserhead, the underground hero. He looked at me annoyed for a bit before he took the exam and told me to go wait in the auditorium. I could hear him mutter about me likely failing the exam since even Nizu had to take 20 minutes to finish it. The ironic thing is I am close to Nizu in my IQ and knowledge since I learned from him. Soon I waited for the other students to arrive in the auditorium, and Present Mike was the announcer for this section. He went through the information and we were all given handouts which I decided to read. I found some useful information in it like a kill switch and its location on each robot. Nizu likely put that in here since most people won't read it due to Present Mike speaking, I thought. Soon Present Mike finished up without interruption, even though I felt like Ida was going to say something since I could see him sitting near the front. We all made our way to our individual exam sites, and soon we would be fighting the robots. I saw Ida was in my exam site, and I waved at him, and he noticed me and waved back. After about 5 minutes waiting, the door opened, and I powered up to the 25% limit that Nizu had set for me and sped off since there is no go in hero work. A lot of people were yelling at me that they didn't say go, but Present Mike just yelled at them that there wasn't a go or countdown in hero work. Soon everyone was following behind me, but I had already scored about 15 points since I had gotten deep inside the city. I was speeding around and grabbing robots' heads and ripping them off or hitting the kill switches really quickly. I even grabbed robots and tossed them into each other. One kill was interesting as I did a flip and went over a robot and had twisted the head off as I went over it. I then used the head like a cannonball and just tossed it at a small group of robots. I had already gained around 70 villain points already when it was announced that there were only 5 minutes left. I decided to start heading back to the entrance when I felt the ground start to shake. Teacher's POV. The staff was all in the control room watching as the exam started. All Might was also there since he would be a teacher soon. He watched as Izuku went up to the gate and charged right in as it opened. The other staff watched everyone else as well, and some noticed how Izuku charged off. Some even made a comment about how he knew how to go straight away, but Nizu didn't make a comment. Eraserhead was just laying in his sleeping bag watching. He noticed the green-haired boy, but looked away uninterested. Soon, the exam was on an upswing. A lot of people had points and were doing great. Some staff mentioned how some students were doing good and how they were getting points. Now it was time for the final 5 minutes. Principal Nizu says that the best students use a combination of skill, speed, power, and focus to score the most points in the end. As time runs down towards its end, All Might press the switch to release the gigantic villain bots worth 0 points. The purpose of this robot is so that the judges panel can observe how students react to the desperate situation created by the giant robot. It presents an opportunity for some students to truly shine. However, most students ran away. Izuku was seen on the screen walking away, as well. Since no one was in danger, he decided to ignore it. However, he heard a voice and the staff noticed someone was trapped in the zero-pointer's path. Nizu, we need to stop the zero-pointer in one of the test sites. It will run over a girl, stated Power Loader. Nizu just ignored him and the staff was confused about why. Then they saw a student charging at the girl that was in the path of the zero-pointer. The boy grabbed the rock and lifted it up and tossed it. He then grabbed the girl and ran away with her. Damn, I was hoping he would go past 25% and show everyone his powers. I wouldn't have even complained, thought Nizu. All Might had a similar thought as well until they saw Izuku running back at the robot. The staff noticed this as well and thought he was crazy. The staff wanted to kill the robot, but it was too late. Izuku had jumped up and slammed into the robot. So he had more power but didn't use it during the exam. Does he think he can skate through this school? thought Eraserhead, who didn't know about the limit placed by Nizu and All Might. As such, he thought Izuku was thinking he could take UA easy, which annoyed the hero. Soon the exam came to an end and the teachers graded the points. One teacher asked what the green-haired student's name was, and Nizu had a smile on his face when he said it. "Oh, that's Izuku Yagi, the son of All Might," Nizu said with a cheerful tone. Everyone froze. They then all looked at All Might, who just rubbed his neck and smiled. "Indeed, he is my son. Please keep that information to yourself, though, so the students don't figure it out anytime soon," All Might stated. Lovely. The kid's All Might's brat and thinks he can skate through UA without going all out due to that fact, thought Eraserhead. Eraserhead had created so many misconceptions in his head about Izuku. He then told Nizu that he wanted Yagi's brat in his class, and Nizu agreed with a smile since he knew he was going to have fun and Aizawa would regret demanding for that student. So, this was the end of part 3 of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.